On the Fringe with Dan radio style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. It is Friday, thank goodness, and we've got the music show coming up. Hopefully you guys are going to enjoy that. We've got Brian Adams as the inspiration, and I've already got next week's show figured out. That was a beautiful day at the gym. Figured a lot of things out, and we've actually got some fantastic news. Deep State, you failed again. You failed yet again. It's funny how things work, too, because, I mean, many can say that the weather's affected by technology. Sure, I think there's definitely some of that going on, maybe a lot of that going on. I don't think this Arctic spell necessarily is part of that. Maybe it is, maybe it's not, who knows? I kind of feel like this is more of like God kind of set things in motion. It's beautiful. We're going to talk about it. Obviously, a lot of crazy stuff that Biden's trying to do on the way out the door. I'm still waiting for the pardons, too. Those are going to be coming. And we've got a lot of great news about what the people in the House and Senate are trying to accomplish now that we've actually got control of the big picture. So let's get into it. Let's start talking about some freaking news, people. Yeah. Starting it all off with a public service announcement. For anybody that's planning on going to any events in the coming near days, please be vigilant, especially if these events are conservative in nature or religious in nature. Be on the lookout of potential cars coming barreling down. There is a threat of copycats. People do like to copycat. This is something that the left progressives enjoy, using cars as weapons, which is funny because they want to get rid of guns, because they kill people, but yet they're running around using cars. So maybe that's why smart cities are coming. Need to get rid of those too, because they could be used as weapons. God forbid you say something to somebody that hurts their feelings, and that's pain talk. Whatever. Yeah. So the FBI is saying copycats are going to be out there. If you're anywhere, always be aware. If you hear screaming and yelling and loud engines happening, be aware. Also, no matter where you're at, and this is kind of maybe more to the guys, but if you're watching ladies, you just sometimes aren't real good at this as a natural thing. I'm not trying to rip on anybody, but be aware of your surroundings, but also know a way out. Like wherever you are, if something happened, if something crazy started occurring, where could you go? Where would you go? Just be aware. The next week or so is going to be significant. Let's keep that in the old burner and make sure that we are being safe. Very cool stuff with SpaceX. I want to share this. I just think it's cool as hell. They caught another one of the SpaceX vehicles, and this is so damn cool how this happens.
Booster landing burn. Seeing 13 engines.
Booster now hovering as it aligns with the tower for catch.
Booster coming in. Get ready for that boom, Kate.
Down to 3 engines.
Novelli has caught
the booster. That is so freaking cool. Now, I don't know about all the applause and the screaming in the background. That sounds stupid, but whatever, might be. Apparently, they were testing one of the newer Starlink ships, and the test did not go so well. Elon Musk has a comment. We'll get to that here next, but this is the not good. Yeah, it broke up over Dominican Republic, apparently. SpaceX's Starship falls apart during a test flight. Yeah, kind of reminds me of the that infamous space shuttle, that last flight of the space shuttle. That was just sad. But yeah, no humans were on this, thank goodness. I don't think they lost anything other than the aircraft itself, which sucks for them, of course. Elon Musk posted in response to this. He did say that improved versions of the ship and booster are already waiting for launch. So he also mentioned something to the effect of it's no guarantees that it's going to work also, but no matter what, it will be spectacular, meaning if it crashes, it's still kind of crazy to see. Yeah, success is uncertain, but entertainment is guaranteed. And we'll see what comes from that. Kind of cool, though, I think. Brussels has ordered X to hand over documents on their algorithm. This is kind of fun. They're ordering Elon Musk to fully disclose recent changes made to recommendations on X, stepping up an investigation into the role of the social media platform in European politics. The expanded probe by the European Commission, announced on Friday, requires X to hand over internal documents regarding its recommendation algorithm. The Commission also issued retention order for all relevant documents relating to how the algorithm could be amended in the future. In addition, the EU regulator requested access to information on how the social media network moderates and amplifies content. Now, this is all because of Germany. The fact that the ultra-right, or the extremist right, as they frequently like to call it, it's the one that the AfD party that Musk is supporting, they're complaining that so many people, this is becoming really popular. They're like, what's going on? How is this happening? You're obviously doing this on purpose, Musk. I think little do they know that they can't stop or control the flow of information anymore, and so people are gravitating back towards the center, which is where most of us, for the most part, exist. Right? Bell curve. 80% of us are in the general center, and then 10% on each side of the extremes. Well, those are the extreme crazy people. Like, it just is what it is. The bell curve works beautifully. 80-20. That's kind of the way to get through life in general, right? 80% of the stuff is worth the effort. You try to do that last 20%, and oftentimes it starts to get extremely expensive, very time-consuming. You get the picture. The move follows complaints, of course, from German politicians that X's algorithm is promoting content by the far right. Ahead of the February 23rd elections, Musk has come out in favor of the nationalist alternative for Germany, the AfD party, arguing that it will save Germany. So they think he's doing this on purpose. I don't know if he is or isn't, but it's probably good for Germany if they decide to stop being so ridiculous. Treasury Secretary Yellen's computer, among 400 other systems, were apparently hacked by China. This is pretty crazy, but Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has had her computer, her personal computer, her work computer, hacked into by China. We don't really care about the integrity of the U.S. economy, but we just hope to God there's no nudes to leak. Kind of a funny little thing from Tyler Durden, the dude that writes for this. What the hell is this? Zero Hedge. So the breach reached more than 400 laptop and desktop computers. Hackers apparently accessed employee credentials and over 3,000 files from unclassified personal computers, including policy documents, travel records, organizational charts, and sensitive law enforcement data, the report revealed. While they likely stole some material, classified and email systems were not breached. What this sounds to me very much like is they took a bunch of information that will allow them to do what they call as a spear phishing campaign, where they very specifically go after people. Having an org chart's fun because you can hit the people below and you can say, yeah, your boss told me to hit you up. If you go to this site and click such and such, you can go ahead and take care of that for him. And that would then, of course, get them in trouble or give up their credentials and then get them in huge trouble. So I don't know what the Treasury's doing. It's a government agency, so probably not much, especially if it's under the leadership of Janet Yellen, who also got hacked or phished. I have a hard time believing it's hack. I mean, a hack, it's possible because they've been doing, the Silk Typhoon, they've got the Mustang Panda, and then they had some other one. I forgot what that one was called, something Typhoon, I thought too. But needless to say, there's a whole bunch of hacking going on. Trump, we'll get there, has been talking to Xi, so I'm kind of curious to see where this all goes. But this is kind of one of those great examples of how things could easily get out of hand and how this could very, very much affect the economy and the stock market. A lot of crazy things are at risk here. I'm just saying, if you're in the stock market with your 401k and your IRA, you've spent years pumping your money into it, that's great, and you've established quite a big nest egg doing that. Here's what my recommendation is. Because of the rockiness that we've got with the dollar, you've lost 25% of your buying power over the last 4 years. That will, to some degree, get better, but it's going to require drilling and a lot of other things to happen. And until that happens, we're still going to continue to look at some negative movement. Again, Trump's in office. But the deep state is very fond of slashing and burning as they have to backpedal. It's one of the things they're famous for. At some point, we'll likely see some sort of adjustment, or they'll not be able to keep the stock market afloat like they have been. Diversification is really the key. And diversifying into something that's not only holding value, but in fact has gone up in buying power. Over the past year, the price of gold's gone up so much that if you would have bought a year ago, you'd actually have more buying power with that same money that you spent now than you did then. It's one of the couple assets that's doing that. Bitcoin's one of the other ones. So diversify into precious metals. You don't have to take all of it, and you shouldn't take all of your 401k. What you should do, well, I mean, it depends. They don't, my good friends at Gold Cove don't recommend taking your whole 401k. I will be honest, I kind of stopped being in a 401k a while ago. I just don't think it's a good idea for me personally. But for people that are out there, if you try to do 100% of it, and they're wonderful customer service, they don't tell you what to do. They don't tell you how to do it. But they would suggest and say that many clients of ours don't usually do more than 50%. Diversification is really key. Getting some of the eggs out of that basket, put them into another basket where you actually can hatch them someday. Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Let my great friends at Goldco help you out. They're incredible customer service. They are very good at what they do. They have the highest price buyback guarantee, and they have a number of suppliers, so they're able to get these physical metals for you. And yes, they're actually physical metals. They're put into a trust. That's how it's tax-free and penalty-free. I think there's also some age stuff involved when it comes to that. Look into the information, get the 4 data points, get your wealth protection kit, and start thinking about your future and how you can protect your investment, your hard work, your years of shoving into this system. It'd be a shame to see that hurt in any sort of way. Protect, hedge, diversify. Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Get out of that system before they get out of you. You're also going to get this Trump book. I love how they've done the site now. They got the landing page all cool. It's got a stupid picture of me there. I love it. My teeth look oddly wider than they should. I don't know what's up with that. They had to have done some touch up on that because I don't think my teeth are that white. Beautiful thing. drslikesgold.com. drslikesgold.com. All right, Joe Rogan talking about Gavin Newsom's viral dance clip. Now, this was, I don't know if I did comment on the show, but I remember when I first watched it, I'm like, what is he doing? What is this little dance thing he's doing? And I dislike Newsom so very much. And it's just so wonderful to have him get just reamed for a lot of the stupid stuff he does. And Joe Rogan is doing a mighty fine job doing some reaming. Check it out.
And he did this little dance, like, I've been talking with these, with the governor of Hawaii about what to do. We've got some ideas, a speculator. We're going to have some meetings. Like, he's doing
Really?
this. Oh, show it to him, Jamie. It's so creepy because it's happening while these people their houses have been burned, all their childhood memorabilia, all the stuff for their kids, the photos, the fucking everything they have is gone. All heirlooms, their mother's wedding ring, that kind of shit. Everything's burnt to the ground. And this guy's like standing in front of all this stuff, and he's got a smile on his face, and he's talking about land use.
The development plans.
Watch this. Play this. And give me.
I was just talking to Josh Green, the governor of down in Hawaii, who had some ideas around some land use concerns he has around speculators coming in, buying up properties, and the like. So we're already working with our legal teams to move those things forward, and we'll be presenting those in a matter of days, not just weeks.
With a big smile on his face. Look at the little wiggle he does with his shoulders. Speculator, watch this. Talking to Josh. Look at this. Look at this little wiggle. It's excited about the possibilities of speculators coming in. And he's saying we're move forward. We're going to move forward on that. These people lost their homes. A lot of those people don't even have fire insurance because the fire insurance pulled out of California. I think like 69% of fire insurance pulled out of California because they're like, this is too crazy. Like, you guys aren't doing jack shit to manage this. You're not clearing the brush. The amount of money they could have saved by just clearing brush, by filling the reservoir, that 11 million gallon reservoir was completely empty during the time of full fire season. Like, why didn't you fix that?
Yeah.
Like, it's all insanely mismanaged. And then this guy is on television talking about, we're really excited about that. Doing a dance in front of the burned down home that people used to sleep in, where their children would sleep in. Like, this is so disgusting.
And Joe, I hate to correct you, but it wasn't an 11 million gallon reservoir. It was 117 million gallon reservoir. And yes, if they would have had that filled, that could have been helpful in the big picture. What the hell? There we go. FBI has closed its DEI office in December, agency says. Look at that. Kind of crazy how they're actually going to do that. Agency didn't specify why it closed the office. We all know it's because, Trump's coming into office. Earlier this month, Republican Senator Marsha Blackburn sent a letter to FBI Director Christopher Wray claiming that radical DEI practices had endangered Americans following the New Year's Day terrorist attack in New Orleans. She says, I'm deeply concerned that under your leadership, the Bureau has prioritized diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives over its core mission of protecting the American people. Blackburn's not happy. She said, the question is, why were they allowed to be focused on DEI in the first place? The FBI should be focused on catching criminals, not winning participation trophies or ribbons. Yes, so we'll see what happens. This is all going to start to change, of course. Donald Trump truthed this. We demand that the FBI preserve and retain all records, documents, and information on the now closing DEI office. Never should have been opened, and if it was, should have been closed long ago. Why is it that they're closing one day before the inauguration of a new administration? The reason? Corruption. Of course he's right. We know that. Lots of corruption in the deep state. We got some Joe Biden crap here and some funniness that's starting to spin out. And also seeing how the Democrat senators are a lot more, well, problematic, lazy. I don't know, call it what you want. We'll get there. Insurrection Barbie posted this. Joe Biden just ratified a constitutional amendment, even though U.S. archivist told him recently said that United States presidents cannot ratify a constitutional amendment, which they can't. The U.S. archivist and U.S. deputy archivist said in late 2024 that the president could not ratify the amendment because the amendment did not receive the required support from 3/4 of the states by the deadline Congress imposed, which was June 30th of 1982. This is very interesting, by the way, and I've got the 28th Amendment. I've got it pulled up. Actually sounds like a reasonably cool amendment. Odd that Joe Biden's doing it, so there's got to be something wrong with it that I'm not seeing just from my cursory glance. But this is literally what a dictator does, wouldn't you agree? These are the ones who keep trying to tell us that Donald Trump is going to use the power of his office to do things that are unconstitutional. You mean like Joe Biden? Just wondering, asking for a friend. That is why every American needs to get into the practice of laughing in their face and doing whatever the hell they deem necessary, because we are up against people who are lawless, have no respect for the Constitution, and continuously violate the principles of separation of powers. Despite not having the requisite authority, Joe Biden just made the 28th Amendment the law of the land. Now I'm going to say, no, he didn't. He tried to. It's not legal. He didn't accomplish what that is, but nonetheless, the 28th Amendment. So, stated simply, I guess, this is AP that put this out a while ago or whatever, the 28th Amendment would not allow Congress to make any laws that apply to American citizens that don't apply equally to the members of Congress. And it would preclude them from making any laws that apply to themselves but do not apply to U.S. citizens. No longer could they exempt themselves from the prosecution for sexual harassment or from the health care reform they passed for the rest of the country. They couldn't retire at full pay after just one term, and their children would be required to pay back their college loans just like everybody else. This amendment would move the Congressional Retirement Fund into the Social Security system, in which representatives would participate like ordinary citizens. And legislators could no longer vote their own pay raises. Instead, they'd receive a 3% annually or the Consumer Price Index, whichever is lower. And they'd receive no pay after leaving office. So they'd go back to being ordinary working stiffs, just like the rest of us. I mean, if that's actually what this was, that sounds pretty awesome. Now, I can see why Congress never passed it or ever tried to push it to the states. That makes sense. But it actually kind of sounds sort of sensible. I don't know. Like I said, there's got to be something missing because Joe Biden's trying to make that law. I mean, that would be cool. And maybe he's just trying to F over, big giant middle finger at all of his friends in Congress. Maybe. Biden shortens the sentence for nearly 2,500 people, setting a record. Good job. Set a lot of records, being the worst president and doing a whole bunch of illegal stuff. And first person to ever actually go after their political opponent with lawfare to try to get them out of the election. So he's broken a lot of records. He's stellar in that regard. But yes, he announced on Friday that he is commuting the sentence of nearly 2,500 people convicted of nonviolent drug crimes who are serving far longer sentences than they would receive today. With this action, I have now issued more individual pardons and commutations than any president in U.S. history, Biden said. I am proud of my record on clemency and will continue to review additional commutations and pardons. Oh, gee, please, can you? They've already been so good. Senator Chuck Schumer has finally come clean about how he played a direct role in getting Biden to drop out of the race. He said, if you run and you lose to Trump, and we lose the Senate, and we don't get back the House, that 50 years of amazing, beautiful work goes out the window, Schumer told Biden in a private conversation at the president's Rehoboth Beach house. Beach is funny because my girlfriend says it like bitch. So we always joke whenever she says it, and I follow up with effing bitch or long fucking bitch. Anyway, it's funny as hell to us. Cracks me up. I got her. I've just ruined this poor lady. But worse, he says, you're going to go down in American history as one of the darkest figures. And he says, if I were you, Schumer told the president, I wouldn't run, and I'm urging you not to run. He then went to his donors and said, let's be quiet about this. Let's be quiet about the fact that he's acting crazy, basically. And we'll slowly put pressure on him behind the scenes. Essentially, that's what happened, and it was a coup. Trump was 100% right. Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi initiated a coup against Joe Biden, and that is where we're at. Here is a wonderful video of Pencil Neck sleeping in the Biden Bondi hearing. What was it? Where they try to get her in, whatever that is. Here he is sleeping.
I assume you agree with me that Chinese cyber warfare, espionage, malign influence is an existential threat to America.
Nappy time.
It is an existential threat, Senator, and also I have not seen it yet, but from what I've heard about former FBI Director Wray's comments on 60 Minutes regarding China, sleeper cells within our own country, infiltrating our water systems.
Total sleeper cell. That was funny as hell. I was just going to say the same thing. Brilliant. And yes, the confirmation hearings would be the word I was failing to think of. Yes, Mario Newfall posted this. Treasury finds $31 million in Social Security payments to dead people. Calls it tip of the iceberg. Government discovers millions in payments to deceased recipients after getting access to Social Security's death records. Officials projected $215 million more to recover by 2026, but they need to show more. They need to see more, I think, is what they're trying to say there. So that's fun. That's not surprising either. CNN has been found guilty on all 5 counts for the gentleman that was smeared, that was helping people get out of Afghanistan. And I think Jake Tapper was directly involved in this. Well, he won his case, and he's getting some money.
Pardon me?
I said, I understand you all have reached a verdict.
We have.
All right. You have the verdict form with you?
I do.
Can you hand that to the bailiff, please?
I will.
Ask the clerk to post the verdict.
In the Circuit Court of the 14th Judicial Circuit in Fort Bay County, Florida, case number 22608CA, Zachary Young, plaintiff versus Cable News Network, Inc., defendant. Verdict form number 1. Do you find by the greater weight of the evidence that defendant CNN committed defamation per se against plaintiff Zachary Young? Yes. Number 2, do you find by the greater weight of the evidence that defendant CNN committed defamation by implication against plaintiff Zachary Young? Yes. Number 3, what is the total amount of plaintiff Zachary Young's damages for both lost earnings in the past and for the loss of his earning capacity in the future, reduced by the amount that plaintiff could have earned from comparable employment? $4 million. Number 4, what is the total amount of plaintiff Zachary Young's damages for pain and suffering, mental anguish, inconvenience, injury to reputation, and loss of capacity for the enjoyment of life that he sustained in the past and that he has sustained for the future? $1 million. Number 5, do you find by clear and convincing evidence that punitive damages are warranted against defendant CNN? Yes. Date, January 17, 2025, signed by the foreperson.
Okay, yeah.
More bad news for CNN and Jake Tapper. Awesome. Love that. Love it. Former mayor of Oakland, Sheng Tao, I don't know, let's see how they actually say it, Yeah, she got busted, indicted by federal grand jury following an FBI corruption investigation. Kind of boring video, but yeah, she's got kind of a Filipino vibe going on. I don't know if I'm right on that one. Or at least kind of a Pacific Islander thing going on. Not sure. Never know for sure. Even my girlfriend sometimes can't tell. That's always my favorite question. I'm like, they Filipino? She's like, I don't know. Most of the time she does, but they're talking. It's much easier. Rep. James Comrie, with a huge grin on his face, says that he just sat down with Kash Patel and had a long discussion. Yeah, it's pretty good. Check it out.
Is there still more work to be done to make sure we understand if there was any national security damage done by the Biden family as a result of this grift?
Yes. I mean, you just watch Christopher Wray's closing interview on 60 Minutes this week when he said our biggest threat is China. Well, why wasn't he concerned about the fact that Joe Biden's family took $8 million from China? They lied about it. And then they laundered it through a series of shell companies. The banks caught them, the intelligence community caught them, and yet nothing was ever said or done about it. In fact, the intelligence community went so far as to write a letter with 51 of their former intelligence officials signing it, saying that initial discovery wasn't true. So I think that we've got a lot of work to do to hold people accountable that were involved in the cover-up. Prior to doing this interview, John, I sat down and had a long discussion with Kash Patel. Yeah. I'm real excited about his new reign as the director of the FBI. I think that he will be able to work closely with my House Oversight Committee. We pledged to cooperate with them. And I said, Kash, you're going to have a tough job in getting rid of and dismantling these deep state bureaucrats in the FBI that have censored conservatives. They've coordinated and colluded with the left-wing media to disinform and indoctrinate their viewers, and you know they've lost the confidence of the American people. So you know there's going to be a lot of rebuilding that's going to have to take place at the FBI and in our intelligence community. But more than anything, I hope that we can go back and hold people accountable for all the cover-ups and all the lies that they told to the American people.
Good. About damn time. And, yeah, we will continue to keep the pressure on them, unquestionably. Comer's requesting Trump's Department of Justice prosecute James Biden for making false statements during impeachment inquiry. Another person, I'm sure, that's going to get a pardon that probably blankets out 11-plus years as well. We'll see when that comes. But, yeah, House Oversight Committee is recommending going after James for lying. We know for a fact he has. Pam Bondi will support any sort of prosecution, so it leaves Biden only one option, which is good. We really and ultimately want him, and I think that's what they're trying to do is corner him. We want him to pardon all of his family members. I don't see how he could look more guilty if he does, right? That's the most guilty thing you can do is pardon your whole family, all the people that all the conspiracy theorists were claiming did illegal things, and you pardon them all? If they haven't done anything illegal, there's nothing to pardon them for, right? Yeah, I triple dog dare you there, Biden. Senate Democrats joined with Republicans to clear a critical hurdle on legislation that would require the detention of undocumented immigrants arrested for certain crimes. The Senate Democrats, who just voted to break the filibuster on the Lake and Riley Act, are as follows. And it's funny, his Fetterman's name's not in there, interestingly, which is kind of cool, I guess. He didn't need to blow his cover, I guess, as Lurch. Cortez, Masto, Hassan, Ossoff, Rosen, Slotkin, Hassan twice. Okay, maybe Fetterman should be in there because I don't think, is there two Hassans? There might be. Kelly, Peters, Shaheen, and Warner. All those people broke the filibuster, and it took 60 to do that. So the Lake and Riley Act is on track to be the first bill passed out of the 119th Congress. They're obviously going to wait to pass it until Trump's in office because we know, of course, Biden would veto it. So that'll wait until I mean, it'd be funny if Biden's like, well, what I did is I actually vetoed it before they even passed it because, you know, that's what I wanted to do. Like trying to pass amendments. It's like, you can't do that, President. That's not how that works. Sorry. Mel Gibson told Newsweek on Thursday that he would heed the call, adding that his duty as a citizen is to give any help and insight that he can. Quote, I got the tweet at the same time as all of you and was just as surprised. Nevertheless, I heed the call. My duty as a citizen is to give any help and insight I can. Any chance the position comes with an ambassador's residence? I think he lost his home. So that was kind of funny. He's like, I sort of need a new place to live. But this is in response to Gibson being one of the 3 ambassadors called out for Hollywood. I think it was Voight, Gibson, and Sly Stallone. So that should be very cool. And someone did make an awesome joke. Wouldn't it be cool if Sly Stallone came out with an Expendable movies and literally like had something about, you know, coming in against the government in Black Hawks, right? A secret group that only they could do. Sly, I hope you're working on the movie already, brother, because that would be outstanding. It'd be outstanding. And Mel Gibson, it'd be cool if he was in it too. I mean, the dude was Lethal Weapon. If he brought him in as the Lethal Weapon guy and he could just be like run down at that point of his life, but he's still got skills, like he can still shoot really good or whatever the hell, it'd be rad to have Martin Riggs back in the gang. So anyway, who knows? Just throwing ideas out there for people that like literally Sly Stallone's probably like, that's a damn good idea. If he hadn't already thought of it himself, he's, I think, a pretty brilliant dude. He wrote Rocky. That whole story is all about him, and it's pretty awesome, dude. I like Sly. I like him a lot, actually. Never did see his porn, but it was probably good, too. He was a pretty decent actor. I mean, all in all. You know, hey, yo, Adrian, hey, yo, yay. Flex, right? Yeah. Cut himself and then stitch it himself. Like, yeah, totally awesome. They drew first blood. Mayor Eric Adams is going to meet with President-elect Donald Trump Friday in Mar-a-Lago as federal corruption charges against Adams continue. What's funny, I think this is Politico that put this article out, so you know it's not worth listening to. Maybe I'm confusing it with another story. I see down here the New York Times breaking the news. Okay, just another rag article, but they try to put a spin on it to make it sound like he's down there trying to work something personal out for himself, like a pardon. I don't think that's what's happening at all. I think he's literally going down to talk to him about how are we going to deport the crap ton of people in New York that need to get the hell out of New York. I guarantee you that's what he's actually talking to Trump about. I don't think he's worried about them coming after him because I think they're going after him probably for the same reasons they went after Trump. He's someone that's now a danger to the deep state. And I don't think they're going to have the power to go after him. And I don't think Pam Bondi's going to let it go from a federal standpoint. The state, sure, we've seen the state will destroy a business, will destroy anybody, so very possible. Hochul might very well push hard for that. Again, we'll see how the game is played because they are losing power in a big way, but it's just another example of how they spin news the way they want to spin news, and frankly, it's not normally correct. Governor Kristi Noem, she's actually being confirmed. I forget which position, but she is in the confirmation hearings, which is cool. And she has some pretty good answers on this one. Let's say check it out.
That somebody recognized that this was something they were questioning and that they deserved answers. My goal and my mission is to build trust. We will undertake a large job and a large duty that we have to fulfill that the American people expect us to do by securing our border, to make sure that our nation is a nation with borders or we're no nation at all, and that we are making sure that those criminal actors that are perpetuating violence in our communities and in our cities and towns and states are removed from this country, that there's consequences for breaking the law in our country again. There has to be consequences because when Americans break the law, there's consequences. And why would we ever allow someone to come in from another country and not allow them and not have consequences or allow them to continue to go forward and to commit rape and murders and break other laws that endanger our society. So we've had over 13,000 murders that are loose in this country that have come over that border. We've had almost 16,000 rapists and sexual assault perpetuators that are loose in this country right now. 425,000 plus people have criminal convictions that are here illegally in this country that our current administration is doing nothing to round them up and get them out of our country. We will be doing that immediately, and that will be the priority. And that is one of the reasons that today the American people have lost their trust. President Trump will build it back and know that their federal government is accountable to them.
That's exactly what we need, right? Beautiful thing. Yeah, Biden's done nothing about all of this, so we're taking it back. I mean, big time. Now, here is where the thumbnail starts to come in, or is going to here in a second. Now, again, the preparations were being made to get used to the fact that there's going to be drones over D.C. Very much. We're getting us ready to be comfortable with that. Now, Dan Bongino has also said it, and I kind of echoed it too, but one of the key concerns of protecting Trump would be drones from the sky. We've talked about it. He's got bulletproof glass in front of him, to the sides of him, sure, but not above him. Yet they're getting us prepared to have drones in the sky.
An exclusive look at how security officials are prepared after months of planning.
So, crane to your left. Got it.
From only 150 feet in the air, pilots dodge buildings.
And tower on your left side. Got it.
Flying in a grid over the National Mall to scan for radiological or nuclear irregularities, threats like dirty bombs.
So you're trying to create a blueprint of what the radiation in Washington, D.C. looks like ahead of the inauguration. Correct.
Department of Energy scientist Jacqueline Brandon calls this low-flying helicopter one of just two of its kind, her office.
If we find a radiological irregularity, we'll investigate it even further.
Highly sensitive technology sets off alarms in the air.
That's an alarm.
That is an alarm. It's a slight variation in our spectra is what it's saying.
An exclusive.
So yeah, something changed. Now again, you might be saying, Dan, they didn't mention drones at all. No, but what they mentioned is what we'll then say that the drones are looking for, right? That's exactly what they're talking about. I just winked, but you wouldn't have even seen me wink. Now you can. Look at that. Helps when you're actually on camera, Danny boy. That said, try to get this pulled up. Here we go. So the U.S. Secret Service, which has faced criticism for its previous lax security measures around Trump, is also replaying worst-case scenarios that could interrupt the inauguration process. According to Assistant Special Agent in Charge Michael Thomas, security measures for Trump's inauguration will eclipse anything previously seen. This includes the presence of 25,000 law enforcement officers and military personnel, including 7,800 National Guard soldiers. 30 miles of anti-scale fencing around the site of the inauguration will also provide a ring of steel to protect the event of its 250,000 attendees. So more than 25 Coast Guard vessels will also be positioned to patrol the area. Sounds like they might be on the lookout for any sorts of drones launching from the water. Maybe. All said, I think there was a huge understanding or expectation of what was to come. Well, Donald Trump, in his brilliance, last minute I might add, made a cool announcement on Truth Social. January 20th cannot come fast enough. Everybody, even those that initially opposed a victory by President Donald J. Trump and the Trump administration, just want it to happen. It is my obligation to protect the people of our country, but before we even begin, we have to think of the inauguration itself. The weather forecast for Washington, D.C. with the wind chill factor could take temperatures into severe record lows. There is an Arctic blast sweeping the country. I don't want to see people hurt or injured in any way. It is dangerous conditions for the tens of thousands of law enforcement, first responders, police canines, and even horses, and hundreds of thousands of supporters that will be outside for many hours on the 20th. In any event, if you decide to come, dress warmly. Therefore, I have ordered the inauguration address, in addition to prayers and other speeches, to be delivered in the United States Capitol Rotunda, as was used by Ronald Reagan in 1985, also because of very cold weather. The various dignitaries and guests will be brought into the Capitol. This will be a very beautiful experience for all, and especially for the large TV audience. We will open Capitol One Arena on Monday for live viewing of this historic event and to host the presidential parade. I will join the crowd at Capitol One after my swearing in. All other events will remain the same, including the victory rally at Capitol One Arena on Sunday at 3 p.m. Doors will open at 1 p.m. Please arrive early, and all 3 inaugural balls on Monday evening. Everyone will be safe, everyone will be happy, and we will together make America great again. So for whatever the reason is, it's now inside the Capitol Rotunda, which is the domed area. That's where they're all going to be. That's why the thumbnail is the way it is. A bunch of drones hovering above the Capitol going, crap, we can't get to Trump. Yeah. I think he's outsmarted them yet again. Future proves past. Kayleigh McEnany talking about the comparison to Reagan and why he said Reagan did this very same thing. There's some very fun comparatives there and shouldn't be lost on any of us.
And as we look at this, this has happened twice from what I've researched, 1909 with Howard Taft and then 1985 with Ronald Reagan. And what's interesting to me is the Ronald Reagan comparison, because not only is the inauguration indoors, you have the hostage release, really right before Trump comes in. You had the assassination attempt, Ronald Reagan as well. Trump is kind of a Reagan-esque president in more ways than one.
And I think that what this represents, too, is that you don't have to do something just because that's how it was always done. Here's a president that, to me, hallmarks his decision-making in the same way, which is, let me assess the current situation. Here are the factors. It's not tenable to be outside, so we're going to move it inside. I mean, we see this stuff often with other large events, and I think the reality is that the storied history of this and the solemnity and the iconography that we're all going to be watching and how important and crucial this event is, all of that remains the same. And now everyone's going to be a lot more comfortable. And we don't have to look at Bernie Sanders memes and his mittens on, right? The reality is we have here in New York, we're expecting temperatures colder than 2 years past, I believe, historically. So he's absolutely right to protect those Americans that are going to see this historic and wonderful event. So bravo for making a common sense decision that will, in the long run, protect a lot of Americans.
And as we...
So yeah, again, and climate change, I'm sure they're going to cry as well. But yes... The comparisons with Reagan are kind of interesting, and this is very fitting, and I think a lot of this stuff is just perfectly set up for this to happen. Again, whether they're behind the weather or if this is just God kind of planning this whole thing out, whatever the case is, the movie is playing out beautifully, and it very much seems like we're winning in a big way. Donald Trump truthed this out. I just spoke to Chairman Xi Jinping of China. The call was a very good one for both China and the USA. It is my expectation that we will solve many problems together and starting immediately. We discussed balancing trade, fentanyl, TikTok, and many other subjects. President Xi and I will do everything possible to make the world more peaceful and safe. This will be very interesting to see how all of this plays out in the big picture. Supreme Court upholds the TikTok ban, clears the way for the app to shut down in the U.S. as soon as Sunday. We've also come to find out, of course, Donald Trump came out and said the Supreme Court decision was expected and everyone must respect it. My decision on TikTok will be made in the not too distant future, but I must have time to review the situation. Stay tuned. So again, saying I'm going to get involved, but there is a possibility that TikTok will shut down. But we've also come to find out from the Biden administration that I guess I thought I had the story pulled up, but we also find from the Biden administration, they're not planning on addressing this. They're not going to enforce it. This will be up to the next administration to enforce. So it sounds like it won't necessarily go dark on Sunday. I don't think, but we'll see. It is interesting, too. I thought I had that pulled up as well. But there was also a Chinese version of Instagram that all these people are flocking to because they thought that TikTok was going to close down. So there's a lot of people that were suspicious that what we're actually doing is literally pushing people directly to a Chinese app, not necessarily one that's sort of branded as an American app that is owned by China, but in fact, Chinese app that is competing against an American company with the same thing, and they probably stole the technology from them. So a lot of people are flooding to Communist Chinese Party apps because that's what everybody's doing, which just bugs the hell out of me when people are just major followers. But whatever, I'm hoping that's not most of you guys. But again, Trump is urging the Georgia Supreme Court to keep District Attorney Fani Willis disqualified from the election interference. He actually filed the documents. This is kind of why I can trust it, even though it's ABC that's telling me this. I can't even tell you how many stories I passed up. One of them was hilarious because they were very specific about the number of anonymous sources. It was 7. 7 anonymous sources told us this. And I'm like, well, then it's obviously not true. So again, a lot of stuff ends up on the cutting room floor, as they would have said back in the olden days. Again, so kind of fun what is happening and how this is playing out. But all said, yeah, ABC News, I don't trust hardly at all. But when they actually say, yeah, Trump's legal team filed this paperwork, it's like, okay, that's probably accurate. It's not them alleging something, which they do all the time. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. She's appealing to try to get back on the case, and he's appealing to try to keep her off the case. I think she's been dishonest. She's messed with a request for information. I think the courts should be looking at her and is like, look at all this other scandalous stuff you keep doing, though. Why should we allow you? You should be like, they like, that wouldn't even surprise me if they're like, I'm surprised that they haven't started to try to disbar you because you've literally done so many things that are egregious. I don't think their Supreme Court is, the Georgia Supreme Court is going to side with her. I don't at all. In fact. So we'll see how it plays out. It should be entertaining, like many things that we're going through these days. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine is expected to select his lieutenant governor, Lieutenant Governor John Husted. Supposed to be the next senator to replace J.D. Vance. There was some discussion, and this was from alleged sources close to the situation. That's why I didn't bring it up yesterday. There was discussions that he was going to bring in Vivek Ramaswamy, and that Trump wanted that, alleged. This is alleged from sources close to them. And as it turns out, again, wrong. So be very careful when you're reading stories. And when it says, according to people close to Trump, it's definitely not true. Nobody close to Trump is talking. Another thing to please keep in mind. I know I'm not going to say any names of anybody or anything, but everybody that was close to Trump in the first administration, but currently is not, and still claiming that they're part of Trump's circle, remember, they're not in Trump's circle currently. Why? There's a reason for that. Either they're too dangerous, too scandalous, or not trustworthy, or maybe some other variants as well. So anybody claiming to be of the original circle and that's why they know things, they don't know shit. Keep that in mind. Trump is not, they are not leaking anything. They had that one individual, drawing a blank on his name, of course, he was the one that I think Musk was getting pissed with. Someone else was too, for that matter. I wish I could remember his name. But he was supposedly leaking stuff, and he was hiring people on the side doing consulting work when he's actually working for the administration. They were very pissed off with him. I haven't heard his name uttered since, so I don't exactly know what's happened to him. But yeah, just be mindful, folks. There's a major information war going on, and we've got to remember not to trust the bad guys because they give a lot of the information out there. We got to get good at that. Go to mypillow.com/OTF. First off, they've got the cool Mike Ross. He's got a men's and women's version. It's sterling silver. It's a beautiful cross. And it's kind of cool. It's the one that Mike Lindell wears, and he's very proud of. And in fact, Mike just had his anniversary for his sobriety, which is super cool. And I think that's a big part of the symbol for him as well, because he gave his life over at that time, which is fantastic. So something that you might want to check out. You want to use the coupon code OTF, of course, helping the channel, helping yourself, helping the world. Let's just be honest. Also, they got that classic standard pillow, which is really cool, and it's a great buy. I think the queen size is like $18.99 and $1 more for the king, which is a significantly bigger pillow, by the way. So if you're somebody that likes extra pillows, maybe doesn't want to get the body pillow, but something close, that king size isn't too far off. You're just someone that likes a pillow between your legs. I know people like that. Maybe it's because their knees hit or whatever. I don't know what the deal is. It's kind of strange, but all said, I know people do it, and that's a great way to do it. For $19, you got a knee pillow or whatever. The bed sheets are incredible, super deep pockets, and like I've said many times, you don't stroke out on that fourth corner when you're trying to pull it down or worried about breaking or tearing. They're incredible, high thread count. And again, if you have like a topper even on your mattress, it'll still go over all that. Just really cool sheets, really nice colors, really great quality. Yeah, nice. Also the towels too. I love the towels. Incredible. Just like their bathrobes are made of the same stuff. Basically, it's like a towel with sleeves. All those things, just amazing products that they have. Their slippers are one of a kind, and they've still got their clothes out. They're trying to blow out the old slippers for $9.50. You should go in there and check and see if they got your size on any of that stuff, because you can't go wrong with $9.50. Also, remember, anything over $75, you're getting free shipping, which is going to save you like, I don't know, $10, $15 right there. You got tax and you got whatever it costs, but outside of that, you're saving on shipping. It's pretty cool. And I will say, MyPillow is really good about shipping and getting stuff out quickly, and it gets to you pretty quickly. So definitely take advantage of that. They've got toppers. They've got this specific My Mattress topper, which they've got a number of different kinds of toppers. This is one in particular. It's only $100 basically. $99.99, but much harder to say all that. Good 9 number though. I love that. And also clearance. They've got a lot of really cool stuff on the clearance page. We looked at this last time. And yeah, they've just got some really cool stuff. Couch, pillows, pillows all over. They've got the deluxe mattress pad, very nice. Number of different blankets and throw pillows. Someone said they didn't like the face towels, or 2 face towels or something like that. They thought it was it's kind of funny what he said, but kind of thought it was like a play on words, right? Like, did they literally say they have 2 face towels? Like if you're two-faced? All said, they've got the tree skirts and MyPillow Christmas stockings. You can get them super cheap right now. Yeah, because it's after Christmas. It's the best time to buy Christmas stuff. Go to mypillow.com/OTF. That's mypillow.com/OTF. Get the best night of sleep you've ever had. And show people a really cool cross in the same time. That's pretty cool. Netanyahu says he finally did get some guarantees about not releasing the murderers. So he's supposedly got backing from the United States that says if they don't move forward with this the way they're supposed to, then we don't have to go with this deal. Now, here's the thing, and this is what's kind of funny, is the deep state has tried to make this deal, but this is likely not going to stick, or they're going to be playing some shenanigans. If they play shenanigans and they then decide that this deal is broken, Donald Trump's going to take off the gloves and all hell will break out, as he said. All hell will break out. So this is going to be interesting. And again, this was negotiated by Qatar and one other country. And so, again, we'll see if it holds. We'll see if they do, in fact, give back the hostages. I would assume there's some proof of hostages still being alive, which will be curious how that's actually proved. Because, again, they could, show old films. But whatever the case is, this is going to get interesting, probably. And we'll see if, when it does actually happen. The WHO, the World Health Organization, they're appealing for $1.5 billion for emergencies with U.S. funding in question. They realize they're not going to get any more money from us. In fact, we're more than likely going to be butting out of that particular organization. Or if not, we will not be giving them any more money. The WHO is now seeking $1.5 billion to help more than 300 million people living in 42 emergency zones from Gaza to Afghanistan. By the way, emergency zones all created by the deep state. Keep that in mind as well. Without adequate and sustainable funding, we face the impossible task of deciding who will receive care and who will not. Here's the thing. China, go ahead, pay it up, butts. You guys are already running the UN anyway. You go ahead and pay the $1.5 billion. How about it? Yeah, we're not going to, but you guys run the show over there. You feel free. The United States has historically been a major contributor to both the WHO's emergency appeal and its wider budget, fixed at $6.8 billion for 2024-2025. For the current 2-year period, the United States provided about 34% of the funding available for health emergencies, and in the past, its contribution has been as high as 50%, WHO data has shown. So, yeah, it's going to stop. That's for sure. Imran Khan has been jailed for 14 years in a corruption case. This is the former Pakistani prime minister. He'd been sentenced to 14 years in prison for corruption case in the latest of a series of charges laid against him. Again, it's so hard to know who's a political prisoner and who's an actual slimy guy. I don't know enough about the history of this guy. I'm pretty sure back when he got booted for all the stuff that was going on, I kind of felt like they were getting rid of a bad guy. I don't know, whatever the case is, he's got the longest valid jail sentence. A cricket star turned politician. He's been detained since August of 2023. Faces charges in over 100 cases ranging from leaking state secrets to selling state gifts, all of which he decried as politically motivated. Latest case has been described by Pakistani authorities as the largest the country has seen, though the country has seen huge financial scandals in the past, some which involved former leaders. So again, this isn't uncommon for them, if you will, but this guy is possibly the worst of the worst. And I think we caught a bad one here. That's for sure. We'll see. We'll see. The Pakistanis are interesting. I work with a lot of Indians, and they don't particularly like Pakistanis, and Pakistanis don't exactly like Indians. So it's hard to get good answers because, like I said, I work with a lot of Indians. My soon-to-be former boss is Indian. I can't imagine him liking a bunch of Pakistanis working under him, though he would have to deal with it, but I don't know. Brazilian court denies ex-president Jair Bolsonaro's request to travel to Trump's inauguration, said no way, and he didn't believe that the invitation that was shown to him was sufficient enough to warrant allowing him to go. Guys probably wouldn't come back. I think we can safely say that. That is a giant fish. Holy shit. All said, yeah, it's what it is. This is an interesting blow to the UK Labour, as a huge majority are saying those speaking out on grooming gangs are motivated by justice, not racism. It seems, and I was talking to my buddy in England about this a little bit, and it sounds to me like, and again, I'm not going to feel like I'm any sort of expert at foreign countries. I have a hard enough time figuring out what the hell's going on in our country. So, no, I've never been anywhere either. I've talked to a lot of people. I've learned a lot, but I've never been. That said, it sounds very much like the people of England are sick of the labels that the deep state likes to throw on people, or the ultra-left likes to throw on people. It's their way of covering up their crime. So they label you with some sort of name, and then you're like, oh, no, don't call me a name. That makes me feel bad, right? And then they don't say anything anymore. Well, people are not falling for that anymore, it seems, in England, which was really one of the things that broke loose here in the United States. Once we kind of got free speech, or at least truth, it got to a point where we were able to speak the truth. And unafraidly so, we would speak the truth no matter what. And a lot of us paid all sorts of consequences just to get to a place where, like me, on Rumble, where I've got a pretty decent-sized audience for Rumble especially, I've paid a huge price to get to that point. And hopefully, making you guys happy with what I'm doing. But all said, this is a big deal. And so, of course, they're trying to say this is racism if you're against these guys. No. It's about a bunch of people raping and gang raping and causing people to go into child trafficking and people trafficking. It's about a horrific thing that's occurring in society all over the place. England being one of the worst, United States being one of the worst, Mexico being horrible. These are places that are doing a lot of this. So no. And it's funny, it's like they'd say it's racist because it's typically minorities doing this, which if that's actually true too, which I don't think it is. I think a lot of it's like white crime. It's like white people crime for sure. But if a lot of this is true, well, then these individuals shouldn't be allowed to be in our countries. They should be locked up for good and or worse. So again, good on you, England. You guys are seriously starting to snap out of it. In fact, that was awesome playing that video yesterday. You could actually tell the chick was pissed. That was pretty cool. Never really seen a pissed off English person. That was rad. Unseen for 80 years, the secret diary with extraordinary insights into Hitler's private life that will shock the globe. First off, this is Daily Mail, so take all of this with a grain of salt. Second off, just because these guys are putting out something and claiming they've now got Hitler's diary seems oddly timed. And gosh, I'm going to be really surprised if all the information we learn from this new leather-bound diary, handwritten, is going to sound almost exclusively like Trump. You watch. We have a little bit of stuff that they're sharing already, but yeah, they've a new diary, year by year, whatever, supposedly Adolf Hitler's. All right, I doubt that very, very much. Horribly doubt that, but whatever. The Fuhrer was heavenly, this lady was saying. I think this was the one, was this the chick that married him? No, just Honorable Unity Mitford has just one thing on her mind. She desperately wants to meet Adolf Hitler. So yeah, she was just talking about some of her experiences trying to get close to him. I think she also talked about how Hitler was excited about killing some people or something along those lines, which again, we're going to find They're gonna what I see happening anyway is they're gonna play this or have this words of Hitler and then play a video that's cut horribly of Trump saying something they're gonna line them up. You watch, it's coming. But it is what it is, and I don't think they're going to win this argument at all. We're going to just destroy it like we always do. So, yeah, just again, look at the source. I use Daily Mail on a reasonable basis, but again, whenever there are ones that say according to sources frequently too. Axios is another crap rag. The Daily Mail, and there's another Mail one. And The Hill, I think, is one that's kind of meh. Anyway, there's a few of these sources that I use from time to time, but generally they're the ones that end up on the cutting room floor like 80% of the time. It goes back to that rule. A fire erupted at the Moss Landing power plant in Monterey County. This is up in Nancy Pelosi's neck of the woods, kind of. It's right up there by Sacramento, or San Francisco, I should say. It's on the coast. I don't know. I'm going to play this. It's 3:50, but it's kind of interesting. I don't think this is scandalous per se, but it is interesting, and it's certainly creating a nightmare of pollution. But I don't know. You guys let me know what you think on this one.
Tonight, we are following breaking news out of Monterey County. A large fire has erupted at the Moss Landing power plant. Some evacuations are underway close to that plant, and some residents have been ordered to close all of their windows and doors and turn their air conditioning off. The CHP says Highway 1 is shut down in that area to all traffic. There is no word at this point when it's going to reopen. This is video from the ground at Moss Landing. Fire crews and EMS, along with hazmat crews, made it to the scene. Our sister station, KION, reports that those crews appear to be letting the fire burn itself out. You can see the flames just roaring into the night sky, largely unchecked. This is time-lapse video from one of the alert wildfire cameras. The plant is a battery storage facility. It's operated by a company called Vistra Energy. Let's go ahead and bring in Darren Peck at this point.
Okay, we've been watching that video of that plume of smoke that's been coming off that fire stay fairly stationary. It hasn't really moved much. We can actually see where this fire is, Devin, on the virtual map. So we're going to have to take a big swing, and we're going to go down past the Santa Cruz Mountains. We're going to go down past Monterey Bay. This is a nighttime reading satellite image which can detect the heat signature coming off that fire. So what you're going to see when we get down to Moss Landing, it's a long trip, and it's all the way down in that bottom right-hand corner, is a little black smudge, which actually looks a little less apparent right now than it did even just a few hours ago, but you can see it right on the border of our map. So that little dark smudge on there is the heat signature coming off that the satellite can read from this. And that's probably the most useful tool that we have to take a look at this. Let's come back and I'll put this into a little more perspective. And instead of trying to pick out the heat signature on there, let me do a little more detailed overview on this and show you where that is and what's burning, because that's going to be a real helpful piece of information. This is a very industrial little plot of land. In other words, this is not a repeat of the fires that we've just lived through for the last week in Southern California. That is the Vistra energy plant, which is really a lithium battery production facility. So this is off the radar for most of us. But when something like that catches fire, it's going to take a long time for it to go out. The good news is there's nothing overtly flammable near it. That's Elkhorn Slough up there. It's a very wet landscape, and it's not like there are homes that this can go into at this point. The fire is also not moving. Look at the last 3 hours in a time lapse on it, and you're going to see just as we get to sunset, a big plume of smoke comes off and then pretty much sits stationary. It doesn't grow in intensity, but it also doesn't weaken. It hasn't really gotten any less intense than when it started, but there's a number of things you can take away from watching that. Primarily, this is not a fire that is spreading to other structures. That's great news. The other downside of it is it's a fire that is not weakening. So the number one concern from this would be the air quality for the communities in and around there. Now, the local authorities have already put out the messaging on this for anybody who's near that, down by Moss Landing. Make sure you keep the windows closed. Make sure you don't run the air conditioner, because the air conditioner will pull in air from the outside. It's not like there's terribly strong wind blowing this one way or the other, but in general, in that time lapse, the smoke was going inland. And it's not.
So anyway, that's enough of that. I do actually think that the Gay Bay is, I think, the next area up over here, but I might be wrong on that. I think this is a bit south. Santa Cruz is a bit south of San Francisco, but again, it's a giant, long state, and I live on the one side of it, and so unaware of some of the, like, I've been to Frisco twice in my life. First time was awesome. Second time was like, oh my God, what happened to the city? And Sacramento, been a bunch of times, but that's more inland. Yeah, so anyway, whatever. This is not good. Now, again, a lot of people are like, why don't they put it out? They drop fire retardant on it. It's a lithium battery, which you probably noticed, and so those tend to require 8 times more water than a regular fire. In fact, in most cases, they're almost impossible to put out. So they're letting it burn and just making sure it doesn't expand or get where it shouldn't. So it's bad. I don't know what they use these batteries for, but they won't be using them anymore. Maybe they were for drones. That would have been funny. Who knows? Anything's possible. A casino down in Mexico called the Royal Yak, interesting name, is having a really bad fire. Kind of reminds me of that movie Dusk Till Dawn, right? Like the end of it, I think they end up burning down that building. Yeah, again, strange. Don't know what's in there. First thing that popped into my head is they're trying to hide evidence, but I had zero information to back that up with. But yeah, sounds strange. Goldman Sachs is they're boosting their CEO's pay. They went up quite a bit. He's now only he's gonna have to suffer a little bit, but he's making $39 million a year. Yeah. Yeah, that's essentially a little over $3 million a month. Just in case you were wondering, how would I get by on so little? I don't know. I'd for sure probably have to stop taking the helicopter to Starbucks in the morning. That would probably be the first thing I'd have to cut back on. Yawn. Seriously, that's amazing. And as co-leader, they didn't want to lose him, so they gave him crap tons of money. Also, if you're a customer at Goldman Sachs, just think about how much they're ripping you off so they can pay this dude $39 million a year. And he signed up for a 5-year contract. Damn. Like, that's better than NFL people. This guy's like, what do you got on me, NFL quarterback? Nothing. Silly Willy. Fast food chain Steak and Shake announced Thursday that it will be cooking its shoestring French fries and 100% beef tallow, baby. That's beef fat. For those of you who don't know what the hell that is, that's how French fries used to be made back in the day. This is because of RFK Jr. and his but his telling us that seed oils are super unhealthy. So a lot of the stuff they use is like canola and some other, maybe even like safflower. And some of those are the seed oils they're talking about typically. They're not healthy for you at all. Beef tallow is significantly more healthy and more flavorful. If you're going to be getting some French fries, you're going to love that. Now, if you're somebody that likes to get vegan French fries, you're going to be shit out of luck. Sorry. Go someplace that's not a burger shack, and you can get some of your nasty seed oil fries. And they might still have a seed oil fryer available in case you are vegan for some reason, going to Steak and Shake, just trying to ruin the experience for other people, possibly. Whatever. It'd be like you're like a PETA person, and you're going to, I don't even know. I feel like there's a analogy in there somewhere. You guys write down your analogies, put them in the bottom. I was probably just going to say something stupid. FDA okays the sales of Zyn nicotine pouches, citing health benefits for adult smokers. So again, for all you people out there that believe nicotine is healthy for you in some way, shape, or form, I at least recommend not smoking cigarettes. Cigarettes aren't healthy for you. Cigarettes have a lot of chemicals in them, and they're extraordinarily addictive. I think nicotine's really the addictive part of it, but I don't want to fight people. If for some reason you are interested in quitting smoking and you're actually the smoker, if you're somebody that knows a smoker, don't listen to me at all. Literally, do not buy this book for them, please. You will actually just piss off the person, and it won't work. So as a non-smoker, do not deliver this book. As a smoker, if you're actually interested in trying to stop smoking and you don't have it stuck in your head that somehow nicotine's your best friend, I highly recommend a book written by a guy named Alan Carr. He's a British dude, used to smoke 7 packs a day. He quit cold turkey. I did too. I smoked a solid 2 packs, almost, just under. I quit cold turkey, and really the book is called Easy Way to Stop Smoking. Highly recommend it. There's actually a number of quitting books that he's written, or stopping books, and that's a big key. By the way, when you're trying to stop smoking, if you say you're quitting, that psychologically already sets you up to fail. Nobody likes a quitter. Nobody likes to quit. The word quit sucks. Don't use it. Stopping something that's bad is great, right? stopping a behavior is powerful. Again, it sounds stupid, but the book is full of things like that, things that we tell ourselves as smokers that aren't really true. It's a powerful book. And again, it's only for those that are ready, because once you read it, you really don't, you get a one shot on it. And it says smoke while you're reading this, but you have to want to stop when you start the book. Don't just read it haphazardly. Buy it and put it on a shelf until you're ready to grab it, maybe, but do not read it until you're ready. Until you're ready. And it is something that's very helpful when you're ready. And for me, it was just like, getting through day one. And that was what was freaking me out. Day one. It helped a lot. It helped a lot. And I got through day one. And day two was so much easier. And day three, way easier than day two. And at that point, you have zero nicotine in your system. After day one, you're like 93% of the nicotine's gone, or 97%. So a huge amount of the nicotine's gone after 24 hours. Gone. So you already start to feel better. It's pretty powerful. Anyways, I know I've kind of spent a long time on that public service announcement, but I think smoking cigarettes, I do not think is a good thing. But again, anytime anyone's smoking near me, I'll go stand right next to him and just like take that second hand in and enjoy it. I love it. I'm one of the weird non-smokers, man. I love standing next to a smoker. It's delicious. Biden admin makes surprise announcement about TikTok ban as Trump inauguration approaches. He basically said this should have been way over there. So, he's talking about basically letting Trump worry about it. There you go. Let's see. What's this? Oh, TikTok CEO Shu Zi Chu, poor guy, says he wants to thank President Trump for being open to trying to help resolve this problem. So it does sound like they're moving in that direction. Also Shao, I don't even know how you say that, Shao Zi Chu, he also talks about he did give $1 million and he's going to be sitting at the inauguration. So those are a lot of things to consider. All said, here is him talking about TikTok.
Hi everyone, it's Shou here. As you know, we have been fighting to protect the constitutional right to free speech for the more than 170 million Americans who use our platform every day to connect, create, discover, and achieve their dreams. On behalf of everyone at TikTok and all our users across the country, I want to thank President Trump for his commitment to work with us to find a solution that keeps TikTok available in the United States. This is a strong stand for the First Amendment and against arbitrary censorship. As we've said, TikTok is a place where people can create communities, discover new interests, and express themselves, including over 7 million American businesses who earn a living and gain new customers using our platform. We are grateful and pleased to have the support of a president who truly understands our platform, one who has used TikTok to express his own thoughts and perspectives, connecting with the world and generating more than 60 billion views of his content in the process. To all American users, thank you for making our TikTok community such a rich and vibrant space, for surprising and delighting us every day. Rest assured, we will do everything in our power to ensure our platform thrives as your online home for limitless creativity and discovery, as well as a source of inspiration and joy for years to come. Thank you. More to come.
And sure enough, thank you, brother. But also, thank you for having a platform that literally hates me more than any other platform. I was surprised how much my stuff got brutalized. They kicked it was my shorts too, my short videos. Like they're kicking those off. I was like, what? There's nothing on any of these videos that's even questionable. I might have been ripping on She a few times, maybe, who knows? But they kicked a bunch of my stuff off. Like one of my first videos, I got like 47,000 views. I was like, all right, this is kind of fun. And then like almost immediately it was like 1,000, then 100, and then like 70. And I'm like, what, is that broken or what? Anyway, I finally looked at it and saw that they were banning everything. It was awesome. Good times. Love that. Instagram, I can't even log into, so that's even more fun. I got people leaving me messages and I can't even get in there. Oh, here's the other thing I was talking about. Wow, I should have put this the other place or tied these up a little better. Whatever. TikTok shutdown imminent right now. The top app on both the Apple and Android app stores is a Chinese Instagram equivalent that literally shares its name with Mao's little red book. Our lawmakers, in a rush to stop Chinese propaganda, have Americans signing up in droves for a literal Chinese app. This is kind of how it works, I guess. It's scary, but it is what it is. I love it, guys. We got a great music show that's going to be coming up probably like an hour-ish from when you start watching this video, maybe today. I got a lot of people that love jumping on it right the second it comes out. If not, you should check out the music show. I did. It's inspired by Bryan Adams, and there's some really, really fun music in there. I like 80s rock, pop rock. I don't know. Not really. Yeah, I'm kind of in that genre, if you will. Some good stuff in there. I think you guys will love it. So please join me every Friday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. We do live for about an hour. It's a great community. And I am broadcasting on BitChute, on Rumble, on Odyssey, on X, and I got them all. That's all of them this time. I got it right. Yay. So again, please join me. If not, you can watch it after the effect on any of those channels, whatever ones that you're on. And please make sure you're subscribed wherever you're watching me. I love you guys. We're going to continue fighting forward. I think we've got a lot of crazy coming up, and we've dodged a major drone bullet, if you will. Yes. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.